Hello and welcome. Today we are in the new Pan-American battleship, the Libertad. The video will be in two parts, first a description of the ship and then we play a match. She is the tier 10 of the Pan-American tech tree line. She has the best secondaries in the game, even better than Schlieffen and Große Kurfürst and all the rest. Her damage output with secondaries is about the same as Schlieffen and GK, and some of it actually only has 21mm of pen, but the majority, like 80% of her secondaries, are 234mm. They have 59mm of HE pen with some pretty high fire chance. On top of that, she gets a funny button. Her F key improves her secondary range by 20% to a little over 15 kilometers for 30 seconds. It also reduces her secondary reload time by 20%, i.e. you get 25% more damage output. But wait, there's more. It also improves secondary battery damage by 30%. It fills up the bar the same way as usual. You get main battery hits and that fills up the bar by 6.5%. But also, every 1000 potential damage you receive fills the bar up by 0.15%. But more than that, it also resets the progress loss timer. So you don't always have to hit not to start losing the bar. Instead, shells can come in or torpedoes can pass, and that will also make it so you don't end up emptying the bar when, there's nothing to really fight. Other than the secondaries, she's pretty fast and has decent armor. Outside of that though, she's, I would say, pretty bad. Only 85,500 HP for a tier 10 battleship. It's pretty low, especially one that has to actually brawl. Her guns are the least accurate tier 10 guns as well, if I recall correctly. About the same dispersion as a Große Kurfürst, but 1.7 Sigma instead of GK's 1.8. Her range is pretty limited, her shells don't have super high pen, her main batteries are 419mm, therefore they don't get any special overmatch. Her anti-air is pretty mediocre, I think. All in all, other than the secondaries, she's forgettable, if not even a bad battleship for the tier. But the secondaries are what make her. Here's what her armor scheme looks like. She has the standard 32mm bow and stern, her deck is 51mm, and her citadel sits above the waterline with a 406mm armor plate. That's pretty thick, especially since it has the 51mm torpedo belt on top of it. I don't really know how easy it is to citadel her. I never got dev struck or really took crazy damage from any salvo, but it might also just be luck. But looking at the numbers, it seems like it, if she's angled, it might be pretty difficult to actually go through all of that armor. Anyway, let's play a game. Obviously, with the captain skill build, you go for full secondaries. The question is mostly about what else do you get. I have opted for concealment and an extra heal. I've had a few games where I wish I had fire prevention, but I think the heal and the concealment are a better choice. Because if you look at the minimap, my air concealment is almost as bad as my surface concealment. And this is one of the reasons why I opted for concealment instead. You might go for the 6th slot secondary reload upgrade. That might be something to consider, but I mostly played with the main battery reload one because, well, you might be a secondary ship, but most of your damage is still coming from your main guns. At least, usually. Not every game, though. I've definitely had some fights against some ships where that wasn't the case. But the thing is that, well, ships usually just don't come close enough to you. Or at least not enough. And the main damage will still be the main guns. Ooh! That Schlieffen will come close though, because she has her own secondaries and, well, our secondary ranges are about the same, so we're likely to secondary duel right here. Hopefully, his secondaries will give me a lot of potential damage so that my funny button activates quickly, and then we can deal even more damage. Schlieffen's definitely gonna lose this duel though. I mean, she's a battlecruiser first of all, second, I have a North Carolina to help me, and third, my secondaries just hit harder, especially with the combat instructions up like this. I mean, they don't hit for massiveness, but look, 3,000 damage under fire. That's pretty good. Another 3,000 damage hit, 1,600, 1,000. You know, that's quite something. Like, this damage genuinely does add up. Main guns did 4k. Okay, maybe the secondaries are actually better here. Seriously, the secondaries are definitely doing the majority of the damage to the Schlieffen here. Man, these are some very nice secondaries though. I quite like them for this. Sadly though, it's gonna mean that enemies just don't want to secondary fight you. At least if possible. Yep, goodbye Schlieffen. Honestly, her main mistake really was pushing here, because she really doesn't have the support. She was basically one Schlieffen against Libertad, North Carolina, Flandre, and Yoshino, right? The Ruprecht really didn't engage all that much. So, yeah, I think that pushing here was a big mistake by the Schlieffen. And regardless which battleship I would have played, it would have played out basically the same way. Maybe it might have taken a little longer or something, I don't know, but yeah, that was a foolish push. Okay, so the worry here is that they have an actual destroyer here, a Hayate. And the problem with that is, Hayate is likely to torpedo us, because we only have battleships and a super heavy cruiser here. So we don't really have a destroyer that can contest them. And therefore, what I want to do is I want to just turn away and run. The thing is, I'm not sure if those were Hayate torpedoes, I think no. So Hayate torps could come at any moment, meaning that turning is dangerous. If I was a Schlieffen, it would be no problem, because I just put Hydra up and I could turn whenever I want. As a Libertad though, you don't have anything, so you're just guessing. And therefore, I'm just gonna sail into the cap zone. I just want to make sure that there's no allied ships behind me, so there's less of a chance that the Hayate is torping me, rather than, you know, by accident at least. Also, the side benefit of this is that I get to secondary the Ruprecht. But yeah, now I think I can just turn away pretty safely. Should be okay. I'm not really worried about showing broadside to the Ruprecht. I think the armor on this ship is just thick enough that something like a Ruprecht from that kind of range, especially if I'm angled a little bit, might actually not be able to penetrate my citadel. Because I mean, it's a pretty thick armor plate. Anyway, I think Ruprecht is gone, and I think we have actually managed to make the turn safely. Oh, and there's our destroyer. Hello, Shimakaze. Unfortunately, I'm already gonna leave since there's no battleship to actually fight here, and we definitely have a numerical superiority here. So it's definitely better to go and fight somewhere else. The question is whether I go right through straight middle or I go left where the Colombo right now is. Going right is definitely much more dangerous, but at the same time, I am kinda maxing out my range here, so it might be the better choice after all. Especially since the enemy seems to be actually sailing away from us. We are at a decent lead, I think. I think the sea cap is pretty much secured for us. We have so many ships over there, I don't think Hayate can do really anything, unless she gets some really lucky torpedoes. And we also have pretty firm control of the B cap, although we might end up losing it in the long term, because they do have a destroyer here and we don't. But I think we're gonna be okay for now. So going through the middle might be alright. Hopefully. It would be nice if the Colombo turned around and decided to fight me. I am scared of a Colombo though, because... oh, Shimakaze torped the Hayate. Very nice. That definitely means C-Cap is completely in our control. I don't think we're gonna lose it for the rest of the match. But I am a little worried about the Cristoforo Colombo, the enemy one that is. Because, well, I only have 85,000 max HP. And that's a battleship that can easily hit me for like 20,000 damage just into my superstructure. And my ship is pretty decently sized. So it's not going to be the hardest thing in the world to do. Ooh, North Carolina is coming and Colombo is coming back. You know, if I had my funny button, I could secondary both of them. So I guess I'll just start engaging after all. Wait, what? The Colombo's already down? She had so much HP earlier. Wait, what? How did I citadel in North Carolina from the front? That must be something weird going on with the NC's armor scheme, because it really shouldn't be happening. These are 419mm guns, they don't have anything special going on. Okay, well, I can roughly stay like this, as long as I basically point my stern directly towards the Colombo. I'm only gonna take 9,000 damage per salvo. Imagine if I had showed even a little more side, that could have been even worse. Anyway, we can secondary from here because we got our funny button up. That Colombo salvo did give us quite a lot of potential damage, which filled up the bar very nicely. I do have to show some broadside to the Cristoforo Colombo, because otherwise I'm gonna run into the island. But I think I'm gonna survive. I do have 44k HP still. Man, spotting would be nice, but can't really do anything about it. Oh, we can secondary the Colombo then instead. She is showing a lot of broadside, so maybe we can do something about her. Oh, Z-52! Now that's a good target for me. Well, hello, secondaries? Oh, my ability has run out. Never mind. Oh, Shima Kaze to the rescue. Man, this Shima has basically defeated both of the enemy destroyers. She torped the Hayate and now she's gunfighting the Z-52. I should have led, I think, a tiny bit more with that salvo. But it wasn't necessary anyway. The Shima got her instead. Okay, so looking at the map, I think I'm gonna actually head towards the ACAP. Like straight up, just try to help the U-4501, because she's running from a Mogami. I think the Mogami is gonna continue chasing and we might be able to catch her in a close range fight. Which is something this ship really excels at. Well, close range being an operative word, right? If we get our F key up, we can do it at 15 kilometers. You know, actually, almost everyone on the enemy team is within range then. Well, except that Richelieu. We haven't actually got to secondary fight that much, but I think that's kind of what you're gonna get with this ship. Everyone's gonna know that your secondaries are very strong, so they will stay away from you. But man, I'd love to try out the special Pan-American captain with this. That's gonna be even more fun, because as I understand it, that one boosts secondaries a little bit. Okay, so one worry still is that I might get torped by the Mogami. Or, yeah, Mogami. Because that's definitely what I would be going for as the cruiser. But hopefully we'll be okay. We do have 50,000 HP. Sadly, there are ships within our secondary range. None of them are in line of sight though. Mogami is behind the island in front of me. The Colombo is behind the island behind me. And the Yoshino is behind the island to the side of me. Maybe I shouldn't be so close to islands, huh? Yeah, I don't think I get to fight the Mogami. She seems to be getting torped by the submarine. Instead, I get to fight the Yoshino, though. Go, little secondaries. Let's see how much damage to the guns do. 6,000, pretty respectable. Meanwhile, my secondaries have done 6,000 damage, too. Okay, secondaries are at 12,000 damage already. They're at like, what is this, 15k? Actually a little more. Man, these secondaries hit really hard. We did another 6k with the guns. Meanwhile the secondaries just, yeah. Man, having the 234mm secondaries, they have so much pen that they just absolutely... Ships that normally don't die to secondaries quickly will die to these secondaries pretty quickly. Ooh, broadside North Carolina. Man, that dispersion is pretty brutal. A little bit more and we could activate the secondaries. Sadly, I don't think we're going to be able to. That NC looks like she's gonna die to the Shima. Yep, torps are already spotted. Yeah, the torpedoes are gonna get her. But I think the Shima absolutely deserves that. She has done an outstanding job. Well done, Hosso. Really well done. She fought off both of the enemy destroyers and kept bases, spotted, did everything you'd want from a destroyer. Anyway, we did 192,000 damage. We only got 93 secondary hits. But these secondaries do hit harder than normal, so that's okay. Wow, I'm really surprised Shima wasn't number 1 and that's the submarine. Well, deserves that compliment. And I think that NC as well. And Mogami is actually number 1 on their team. Anyway, here's the damage. Yeah, as you can see, main gun's 112k damage. The secondaries did deal a respectable 54k damage though. But as you can see in some fights, like against the Yoshino, the secondaries actually outdamaged. Against the Schlieffen, the secondaries again outdamaged. It's against the other ships that just weren't in secondary range where the main guns ended up being more effective. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I would like to thank the patrons on Patreon. Thank you very much for your continued support. And I hope I'll see you guys next time.